Hi, it's Davy Mooney coming to you from the University of North Texas where I run the jazz guitar program. I'm a Benedetto artist, a Sunnyside Records artist, got 5 Sunnyside CDs including the brand new Wayback, getting ready to do some gigs here in the DFW area with the musicians from this record. And really excited about that. Stay tuned for more info about that. I've got 2 Mel Bay books, Personalizing Jazz Vocabulary, and Into the Labyrinth, An Anatomy of Position Playing for Jazz Guitar. And let's see, it's sort of late October, almost Halloween time here in Denton, Texas. Weather's nice. We get a short couple weeks of nice weather before it gets freezing cold, if I remember correctly. And let's see, what else? Just chugging along, doing what needs to be done here to help everybody get better at the music, including working on the tune Airegin with some students. It's a really cool tune by Sonny Rollins. I think it was first recorded in 1954. Is it called the Miles Davis All-Stars, I think? And then also Miles recorded it, was with Sonny Rollins. And then he recorded it again in 1957 on Cookin' with Coltrane and Red Garland, Philly Joe, and Paul Chambers. I first heard this song on the incredible jazz guitar of Wes Montgomery, which was one of the first jazz records I bought, jazz guitar records. And gosh, let's see, there's so many. There's a recent version from the great Mike Moreno with some really cool rhythmic things going on that several of my students have transcribed, so I've got some insight into that arrangement. And gosh, what else? I was looking up, this song's been recorded and played many times. There's a version from Don Patterson with Sonny Stitt, a record with Pat Martino from 1968 called Funk You, with an exclamation point. And one thing right off the bat that's very interesting about all these tunes, and I did a short video about this the other day, all these renditions of this tune, is the A sections of the melody are different on all of these versions, the actual notes. And it's been really interesting just sort of to contemplate, the idea that the tune would be, we're always looking for the authentic, what's the right melody, what are the right chords? And sometimes, that certain tunes are pretty consistent across various recordings. I'd say All the Things You Are is pretty consistent. I could think of some other examples, whereas others have a lot of differences in the harmony, but the difference in the melody is unusual. Maybe it happens more often with bop tunes. But so, for example, the original version goes. So in tempo. And that's the original one. Then when Miles did it again in 57, it's a little different. You can't even really hear like what this was supposed to be. Maybe it's more like, which is actually what Wes Montgomery plays a few years later. But they changed the rhythm. So let's assume even if the first part was, that part comes in a little earlier in the rhythm, and then they go. I messed that up. And the D flat becomes a D natural. I don't know if I have the rhythm exactly the same that they have on the second Miles version, because I've got all these versions swirling around in my head right now, but Wes Montgomery in 1960 went. So I feel like he was kind of trying to do what they did on the 57 version of Miles, but he made it a little more guitaristic. Maybe he listened to the LP and was like, what are they playing there? Couldn't quite figure it out. The other thing that's interesting about the 57 version, it starts off, you've got this kind of thing on the bass, F to G flat, and Train's going. As an intro, and then they play the whatever it is. And for the second A section, whereas most people would go back to what they played in the first A section, either that or like Wes does, or something in between. The Miles version of 57, they go to this again. And then to the C section. So, man, really different. And Moreno has a really cool arrangement, and when he actually gets to play in the melody, he goes... And there's some rhythmic hits. He puts that in the same place as the Miles version. I'm messing it up a little bit because I have all these versions swirling around in my head, but he does this kind of cool intervallic thing. So man, I don't know which one you're supposed to play, y'all. I think you just pick from amongst those. For a while I was feeling bad, like I knew the Wes version, and I was like, oh man, Wes just changed it to make it easier for playing guitar. But then I was listening to that 57 version from Cookin', and I was like, man, that's pretty close to what Miles said, including like making the D flat be D. But anyway, not to get too wrapped up in all that, although it seems kind of important when talking about this song and how to play it, like for there to be that much variety in the opening melody that you hear of the song. But the B section is kind of fun too. So after we've had that, basically the chords are F minor, C7, F minor, F7, B flat minor, F7, B flat minor. And then you have this kind of cool sequence of, I always think of it as D flat major. I guess it could still be B flat minor, but D flat major, and then a 2-5 to C, 2-5 to B, 2-5 to B flat, then 2-5 back to A flat, and a 2-5 back to F minor. And that's really interesting for a couple of ways. It's an interesting sort of chromatic harmony of D flat, then C, then B, then B flat, and then 2-5 to A flat. It's also remarkably similar to the bridge of the Billy Strayhorn song Daydream, which I believe is from like 1939, and that definitely would have been something that Sonny Rollins and Miles and them would have known about, like Daydream. I mean, I guess I would usually do it in F, but the bridge is like... Right, so that's the same progression, you know, in a different key. B flat major, 2-5 to A, 2-5 to A flat, 2-5 to G, and then he keeps going, 2-5 to F. So I think Sonny borrowed that, or took it, and you know, makes me feel less bad about stuff that I've maybe adapted from tunes and more modern jazz songs. I mean, sometimes, you know, let's call it a tribute to Daydream. And anyway, so that's the harmony of the song. You've got with the mysterious melody. And the first B section, D flat, 2-5 to C, 2-5 to B, 2-5 to B flat, 2-5 to A flat, then back to F minor. What do you do there? I don't know. Or I'm just gonna play Wes. So the C section of the melody, most people would go to like a D flat major again, and then you have that same 2-5 to C, but instead it goes to C minor 7 flat 5 to F7, then a 2-5 to A flat, and that's the song. So really interesting, especially since, you know, you have like 8 bars, then the B section is 12 bars, and you have 8 bars again and 8 bars. So you've got those extra, what is that? That makes it a 36-bar tune, but the extra 4 bars aren't at the end as a tag, because that's a pretty common form. You'll have a 4-bar tag at the end, but in this case, just that the B section is 4 bars longer, going through that cycle of I mean, that chromatic harmony and going to all those key areas. But anyway, so you have that mystery of the melody and how to play it. I swear I'm going to go with Wes. Because it's so much easier to play on guitar. This is kind of awkward. I don't know, maybe not. But I think you can choose your own adventure, y'all. In terms of improvising on it, it's the Miles version is pretty quick. The 57 Miles version, the one from 54 isn't as fast. Miles plays really like killer kind of shredding trumpet solo on the 57 version. And let's see, Wes is pretty up tempo. Oh, I forgot one more thing, that this Sonny Stitt they go totally different. Not totally different, but very significantly different notes. And another way to play the melody. There you go. Anyway, but that's an up-tempo version as well. And the first 8 bars is kind of like a minor blues. So that's doesn't give me too much trouble, if I can play at the tempo. But that B section is hard, right? And so I kind of I try to look at the upper extensions and maybe see, what I like to call negative guide tones that might be happening there, in the sense that, okay, D flat major, and then I got to go to D minor, G7, C. So D flat major, the notes C and F stay the same when you go to D minor, right? So I can play off those notes that stay the same to help me go smooth, make a smooth transition to that chromatic harmony. You have a little more time for the 2-5 to A flat. Another thing, sometimes what I'll do is I'll think of the D minor to G7, so I'm on a D flat major chord. I'll think of it as like D minor 7 flat 5, just because that gives me more notes in common. So then I have the whole top part of the chord is the same for the 2 chord at least, and then when it goes to the G7, Also, you could take that even further. You could go like, I don't actually do this, but it should conceivably work, that sort of D flat major to D flat dominant to C major to C dominant to B flat major to B dominant to B flat. That chord, by the miracle of tritone substitution, that D flat actually can be a dominant of C. I don't know. That's another option. But I usually just try to focus on the upper part of the chords and try to make it go as smoothly as possible. Another position. Oops, messed that up. And that's one of those progressions too, where I remember as a younger player really trying to make sure I could play that in different areas of the guitar without having to jump around, make sure I know where all those chords are. Up here probably should have maybe listened. Some of them I know better than others. Oops. Make sure I got under D flat here, then the 2-5 to C, and then I can get to the key of B, and into the key of B flat, without necessarily having to go this way. Although when I'm improvising, I don't force myself to stay in one area of the guitar. It's good to be able to that to me is really the tough part of the song. The C section, you just have like 2, 5, 2. Well, it's not really 2, 5. I guess you have the 2, 5 of the 3. So like D flat major again. I don't find that as hard, Even if I miss the 2-5 to C minor 7 flat 5, if I get to the C minor 7 flat 5, it's kind of at an up tempo. It works pretty well. So anyway, I'm going to play a few choruses on this song, and yeah, y'all, I guess you just pick which one of those melodies you want to learn, or maybe come up with your own variation, like Mike did in the arrangement, in the context of the rhythmic arrangement. He could have kind of taken any of those options or done the variation that he did. So. All right, hope you enjoy it.